Unfold, of course, brought to you by our friends over at Ultimate Guard and Carnox Chairs. They've got our back, that's for sure. They could have yours too. And we will be underway here in just a little bit. Do keep in mind as well that our backup match, if we got time to hop that way, between Dan Salvatore and Steven Dykman, we of course will, but we want to put our main focus on our two most accomplished players here in the top 8, in Fronsee and Noah Walker. We feel as though this is a very good matchup for Noah Walker, by the way.
Yeah, and goes without saying that Fronsee is going to have to mulligan very aggressively for explosive starts. He can't just play a land drop to land drop. Walker's going to overpower him very easily in most of those games. The way that Fronsee can get an advantage in this sort of matchup, mana accelerators, gum up the works, hope that Walker can't find a flyer, and then just leverage his more powerful cards to take over the game. There's no question. We talked a lot about, you know, who's got the better matchup. We all believe it's Walker. There's no question who has the more powerful cards in their deck. It's Fronsee, by a lot. If you can get out of the early turns without too much disaster happening with a bunch of mana, it's possible, for as bad as the matchup is, that Fronsee can win some of these games at 20.
It's possible, and you can't forget Fronsee, that number 2 next to his name means he's on the play. So being on the play in any format is a positive. So anything can happen here, folks. I do think it's a very good matchup for Noah Walker, but with Fronsee on the play, he can definitely steal some games here. You see Walker taking a look at his opening hand right now. Darksteel Citadel, looks like a Mutavault, Smuggler's Copter, Stonewall Serpent. What I'm not seeing, though, I do not believe, any colored mana, while Fronsee is looking at a couple of forests. Don't know if he's got a 1 mana accelerant or not.
I mean, Fronsee's hand it's not perfect, but you can't ask for a whole lot more. You got some lands.
Wow, he says I can.
Wow, so the opening hand here that he just sent back, and you know, good on Fronsee for at least taking an aggressive position for how he wants to mulligan this matchup. He sent back 4 lands, Elvish Mystic, Jade Light Ranger, Nissa.
Wow, okay.
Which, you know,
I mean, that's explosive. That's a pretty good hand.
I understand that's not perfect.
No, it's not.
But I was surprised to see Fronsee throw that one back. But like I said, you know, he knows he's got to find the exact right mix of cards for this matchup.
Well, we can't forget the London Mulligan is incredibly powerful for taking a look at opening hand. See if we can get a good look at Adam's opening hand again here. I've only got 1 land this time. Maybe more than 1.
Looks like 1 land and some stuff to do.
Okay. And it looks like he's happy keeping this one. So, see if it unfolds a little bit better. He'll start with Once Upon a Time. That's a real hoot of a card right there.
Yeah, it's a crackerjack.
Yep. Take a look at the top couple of cards. He'll analyze his hand as well. You see the forest and the Elvish Mystic, and he's going to take another forest here. So those cards will go to the bottom of Adam's deck at random. Once Upon a Time is done resolving. There's your Elvis Mystic. He's still got his same start that you would expect from this style of deck as we head back over to Noah Walker. Walker does have a Spire of Industry in his hand as well, worth noting. There's Darksteel Citadel. And there's old Ginger Brute coming in for 1.
Honest work.
Yes, it is. We head back over to Fronsee now, who's drawing another land. I think he might go Voracious Hydra, take care of that, and he will. It's good to keep that battlefield clear. You do not want to see Insult Artifacts show up in these games.
Yeah, it's not like Fronsee has a lot of outs to that card happening, so it's not. That might look a little bit preemptive. Maybe wait for something better, but Fronsee knows that could just become a 5/5 next turn, and then he's in a load of trouble.
Smuggler's Copter, the play there from Walker. The lands for Noah are Darksteel Citadel and Mutavault. For Fronsee, he'll play a Jade Light Ranger. Explore twice. The first one is a Nissa. That's a pretty good Magic card. Not one that he wants right now, though. Let's see the next one. Llanowar Elves. I would be a little surprised if he wants that one. Jade Light Ranger will be a 4/3 now, and he'll let that one go too. Can get in a point of damage here with the Hydra, so he will do that. Don't think Adams played a land just yet. Looks like he might just be holding. I think he's got a copy of Nykthos that he did not deploy.
Interesting. I wonder if he's trying to conceal the information, what the shape of his next turn is going to look like. Because that Nykthos is worth quite a bit of mana.
Yeah. I mean, he could be, basically saying like, man, I was really hoping to hit lands off a Jade-Light Ranger and I didn't. So, a little curious.
Yeah. I mean, it could just be, like I said, just the value of the information he's concealing being more important than what happens if he draws a land next turn. He's going to have so much mana to work with regardless.
There is Ensoul Artifact. The Smuggler's Copter is now a 5/5, and it is attacking. It is drawing and discarding. So there goes the Stonewall Serpent. The follow-up here is Ghostfire Blade, if memory serves.
You got it.
Well, there's that Nykthos. Now let's see what the payoffs are, because do remember that Fronsee did let Nissa go. And that's a card he could deploy this turn. Llanowar Elves would deploy another Llanowar Elves.
Net neutral because of Nykthos. Get the mana back from the pip.
Ballista for 3.
Not much of a payoff here.
But not a bad card.
Not a bad card. Might actually threaten, might help Fronsee at least threaten lethal next turn.
Walker will draw. Walker does have a copy of Shrapnel Blast in hand. He's also got a copy of, it looks like, Metallic Rebuke. 2 of in Walker's deck.
Yeah, unfortunately for Walker, it's very likely from here that Fronsee is best served just putting mana into the Walking Ballista. No guarantee that he cooperates and presents a spell that you can hit with a Rebuke.
The Blade onto the Copter. The trigger. Draw and discard time here for Walker. Ghostfire Blade's going to give that creature +2/+2. Its equip ability costs 2 less to activate if it targets a colorless creature, which Smuggler's Copter very much is. We saw Walker use Spire of Industry to turn this on. He's got to figure out what he wants to discard, though. He also has a copy of Shivan Reef in hand. Every damage counts right now, though, for Noah Walker. Both for him trying to kill Fronsee and also for what his life total looks like. So he'll play a Mountain, pass the turn back. He has the ability to block with Mutavault and fire off a Shrapnel Blast. So Fronsee's going to fall down to 7.
So the plan from here is for Walker is pretty straightforward. It's just survive this turn, hope that Fronsee can't get 16 mana into the Ballista to get it to be a 7/7. I mean, you laugh, another Nykthos. It's not like it's not the most ridiculous thing, but yeah, unlikely. And then the Smuggler's Copter finishes off the game next turn.
What do we got here? That'll be 6 green, another Ballista. So that's for 3 as well. Okay. Everybody coming in. Mutavault would like to block.
Well, this makes it face up here that there's no threat of being able to get to the Smuggler's Copter.
Mutavault is going to die. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, Walker just needs to make sure that he's not falling to 4 here and that the Copter can, the 2 Ballistics can finish him off post-combat.
So he's going to Shrapnel Blast away Jade-Light Ranger, Fronsee's largest creature. So now 3, 4, 5, 6 damage will come across.
Yeah.
Walker will fall down to 7, so it's all tied up. And now Adam knows that he is beat, so he will concede the game. So Noah Walker's going to win game number 1 on the draw. Break and serve. Up a game here over Adam Fronsee. Is it in Soul? Wins game number 1 over Mono Green Devotion.
That's a big pickup there for Walker being able to break serve there. But you saw some cause for optimism there from Fronsee, even in a losing effort. If Walker didn't have a flying creature, like we mentioned before, he would have really struggled to deal any damage that game.
Yeah.
The games where Fronsee's on the play with a mana accelerator, he can blunt most of Walker's offense, just not all of it. Walker there fortunate enough to have a Smuggler's Copter, and that basically went all the way.
Well, do remember, here in our top 8, the first 2 games will be pre-sideboard, and the last 3 will be post-sideboard. So we'll hold off now for showing you the 15 cards that these players will have access to in the games 3, 4, and 5. But, of course, we'll get there after this game. In the meantime, we do want to talk about the StarCityGames.com weekly sale, everybody. Basic Lands. Do you like Basic Lands? I know you do.
I love Basic Lands.
I know you do.
There's a great sale going on at Star City Games, and you can head over to go.starcitygames.com/sale. Sale's not going to be going on for that much longer. Monday, 11 a.m., we switch the category, switch the cards are on sale. So if you're interested on some great deals on a whole range of Basic Lands, from some of the latest sets all the way back to Alpha, head over to go.starcitygames.com/sale and buy yours today.
Some fairly aggressive mulligans there from Adam with what he was looking for. Didn't like that first hand. I think I agree with that, by the way. I don't think that first hand was particularly good for the matchup.
I mean, it looks like a good hand of Magic cards. But Fronsee knows he needs the top end of his range, very specific cards. It's not like Walker plays all the removal in the world. So you can go down to 6, even 5 cards, not really worry about getting attrition out of the game. It's very unlikely to go that way. What you have to do is get your shop set up as fast as possible. Yep. And so Fronsee showed a lot of discipline with that mulligan, a lot of understanding of the matchup. Unfortunately, didn't convert that into a win. But like I said, some reasons to be optimistic even after losing game number 1. Fronsee is prioritizing the right cards. It's mulliganing for the right cards. And he demonstrated an ability to apply pressure and lock up the ground really fast. And those are things he's going to have to do if he wants a chance in the matchup.
He's just got to stop a flyer.
Yeah.
And he cannot stop a 7-7 flyer. He could have stopped a 5-5.
Right. The second ballista would have been fine.
Yeah.
Would have been good enough.
But the Ghostfire Blade was too much for Adam to overcome. So, Noah Walker wins game 1. Fronsee will be on the play here for game number 2. These players will take a look at their opening hands. Remember, Fronsee on the play this game. Ballista, again, key card. Looks like a couple of copies of Burning Tree Emissary as well. Not sure if there's a real... It doesn't look like there's... So there's a couple... Looks like 2 Ballistas, 2 Burning Tree Emissaries. No Nykthos. Castle Garenbrig is one of the lands. And no 1-mana Accelerant, I believe.
Noah's hand looks awfully heavy on lands.
Oh, no, Adam's got a 1-mana Accelerant, too. This looks okay. Adam just wishes he had a Nykthos. That's all. All right. He's going to keep it. I think.
Yeah, I think the issue that he's having with this hand is it doesn't really get him anywhere. I mean, he goes turn 1 Accelerator, turn 2 Burning Trees, and a Walking Ballista, and that's kind of all the hand does. It looks like Fronsee is going to keep.
It strikes me as a reluctant keep.
Because it's not... that hand is also... It's not like it's 1 card away from doing anything really powerful either. Because if you draw a Nykthos, I suppose that's pretty good for your Ballista, but it's not great. If you draw one of your big cards, you don't have enough mana. So the hand's, it appears explosive, but at the end of the day, he's going to have some 2/2s, some 1/1s, and a little bit of mana. I think the ceiling on the hand is high enough and the floor is high enough that's worth a keep. But again, that hand is not, I think, as straightforward as it might appear on the surface. That looks like a good hand of cards, but it doesn't really get you all that far.
I think that if he's able to find Nykthos, that means that his Ballista turns into a very real card.
Yep.
And I think now that's a 4-outer, and it's not like once upon a time if you draw it as free, you have to cast it. But you have the ability to do that because you just go, Burning Tree, have the mana left over, play Once Upon a Time. So that means Once Upon a Time isn't a bad draw.
And also, Walker's deck produces enough 1/1s that even something like Voracious Hydra could represent a big draw. Jade Light Ranger as well. So
they're good draws.
Yeah, they're certainly good draws, but it's not 1 card away from spiking something incredible. Yeah. Although I think it's reasonable to count Nykthos in the context of the Walking Ballistas.
Agreed. And now Walker's going to be taking a mulligan down to 5. So things not working out here for Noah at the moment. We talk about Walker and how he's our most accomplished player here in the top 8, and it has a lot to do with those 3 open wins that he has already on his resume. A lot of work done for Noah in Legacy. He loves just a blue-based kind of tempo-y Serum Visions, Brainstorm.
Manipulating material.
Yes, he loves that kind of strategy as a 23-year-old from Amherst, Massachusetts. Played 6 Opens this year, top 8 at 2 of them. 13 Open top 8s all time with 3 Open wins. His first Invitational top 8 is here this weekend. Could be his first Invitational win as well here for Noah Walker. We will have to see. He'll look at 7 again, but if he keeps this hand, it'll be down to 5.
But Noah can afford to go pretty low in this matchup because, again, certainly in the pre-boarded games, one of his premier in-soul targets, plus in-soul, plus some lands. And look, he's shaping a 5-card hand right now. Looks like it has Smuggler's Copter, plus in-soul Artifact. Those are going to play here a really good percentage of the time, even on 5 cards.
All right, let's start it up. Forest. Elvish Mystic. Steam Vent's untapped here for Noah Walker. There's your Serpent. Just a boring old 1/1. But it wears an Soul Artifact all the same. Castle Garenbrig. Boom. 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 And I like just playing that and passing that Ballista. No need to fire off right now.
Right, you can respond to an in-soul artifact.
Correct. We head back over to Walker. Now there's Smuggler's Copter. And now it looks like Fronsee wants to kill that right away, which I think makes some sense. Don't let Smuggler's Copter have the opportunity to do any blocking or crewing, anything like that.
Yeah, because if you pass it over, if you wait until your turn, then he has the opportunity to freeze you up by making it a 3/3.
Now it looks like Fronsee may have drawn a copy of Nissa, but he's a little away from that right now. Another copy of Ballista in hand, too. He's going to play another Elvish Mystic and attack here. We head back over to Walker, who's at 12 right now.
Yeah, I mean, he might not be in a position to race. He also might have to take a turn off here. For example, put in Soul Artifact on the Copter, pass, hope that takes away Fronsee's ability to attack next turn, and then untap, add to your battlefield, and then hit with your flyer.
Got it.
You hate to see in-soul and pass, though.
It's not your favorite.
You like to just get it going, but I'm not sure if Walker wants to make the damage race that extreme, because it would be on the table falling down to 6 with lethal being represented in the next turn.
All right. Serpent, pass.
Yeah, this is a really powerful defensive position for one turn here. Fronsee is so hard for him to attack this turn with a protection from multicolor threat plus Smuggler's Copter available to block. If Walker gets out of this turn still at 12 without Fronsee making a bunch of advancements on the battlefield, then you're probably in a position to in-soul your Smuggler's Copter next turn. You still have your 2/2 pro multicolor back to block, and you can start racing.
Well, it looks like it might be Nissa time. And there's Nissa Who Shakes the World. A standard all-star has made its way into Pioneer. It's going to untap the castle. 3/3 there. And happy to attack with just the castle. It's going to crew up and block. Okay.
Well, this gives Walker the opportunity now. If you trade off with the castle, you can put in Soul on your 2/2, take care of Nissa because the Burning Tree Emissaries can't block. And then, you know, again, you're still looking at a lot of damage on the way back. But, you know, you get out of the worst of it, and you still have a lot of cards in hand to work with to hopefully take a defensive posture the following turn.
There are the scissors.
Yeah. Again, the artifact keeps the +1/+1 counter, so that's a 7/7 pro multicolor. Burning Tree Emissary can't block, and it's enough damage to take care of Nissa.
Now, the good news here for Fronsee is that's a card you can, well, actually, you know, you really can't chump block very well.
Trample, too.
Trample, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it wears the scissors quite well. Once Upon a Time.
Good news for Walker here. Walker to feel better about his position here really needs Fronsee to take a turn off. You don't want him hitting you for some damage and then playing something you have to deal with. Once Upon a Time, I don't think Walker even really cares very much about whatever Fronsee hits. I guess Nykthos is probably the most concerning card, but in any event, it's good news for Walker here that Fronsee is taking a turn, not advancing his battlefield very much.
Yeah, it feels like he might be taking the turn off here. We'll have to see what Once Upon a Time does yield, as Nykthos could be turned on, generate 6 mana, and then a Ballista could be deployed. So there are some scary things that could happen here. And Fronsee might be looking at potentially a questing beast here. Not entirely sure. Again, remember, well, let me make sure I take a look at Adam's deck list here. Don't want to make an error. No main deck copies of questing beast for him. So there's Voracious Hydra as potentially an option here, among other things. You see Scavenging Ooze, which is a little slow, it feels like. He's going to take the ooze. When I go to his hand, Once Upon a Time will go to the graveyard. The cards from Once Upon a Time that he did not select will be put on the deck at the bottom at random.
I don't know how many creatures are in the graveyard right now. There's a Ballista and a Bomat Courier.
Yeah.
So this ooze doesn't really change the math all that much. I suppose no. Excuse me. Sorry, Fronsee's at 20. Sorry.
Oh, the light total's great.
Yeah. I thought I had him swapped at him at 12, and I'm like, well, the ooze can only pull him up to 14, and he's looking at 7 twice, so it doesn't. But with him at 20, possible gives him some cushion.
Part of me believes that Adam is just supposed to attack for 6 this turn, put you to 6, and then that's, you know, you can present lethal next turn. You have a Ballista in your hand. Because I don't really know if Walker can afford to really keep pressuring his opponent right now.
Yeah, giving up 2 points to have the ooze this turn when Walker probably has to chump block your largest thing anyway seems less valuable than getting the extra 2 this turn. Because let's say you get to a position where you can't attack, then you have ooze plus your 2 mana up because you have your elves as well. So I think I would have just preferred to send in the elves that turn. Fronsee went a different way with it.
We go over to Noah Walker now.
The other problem with giving up that 2 points is it makes it a lot more powerful if Walker decides to pump the brakes and take a turn off. He's at 8 instead of 6 when you're going wide. You might not be in a position to attack this turn. Whereas he goes to 6 and then you go ooze with 2 up, make it a 4/4. Walker can't do anything with his mana this turn, most likely. And your position to be able to go wide and finish off the game next turn becomes a lot more compelling.
Remember, it appears as though Fronsee may have a walking Ballista in the holster at the moment.
Which I would say is another argument for trying to knock Walker down to 6 instead of leaving him at 8.
Just try to get it over
Just
with.
another way it could go.
Well, it looks like Fronsee wants to do some amount of attacking here. He's just not sure exactly how. Oh, interesting.
Well, you can't attack with I don't know about attacking with the elves here because Walker has such a good block with the Mutavault. Yeah, he gets this block. Now you're at 5, and your mana just keeps is really pinned here.
You saw no. I mean, that was a snap block.
Yeah, yeah. That's not. I mean, that block's not close.
Yeah. Walker's going to fall down to 3. The follow-up is a Ballista on 1.
Now the question is, does he want to finish off the Mutavault? I mean, I don't mind. With Walker at 3, if you finish off the Mutavault and he can't cast a spell next turn, that's game.
Yeah, I'm pretty compelled to take care of that Mutavault at this stage.
He's only got 2 Wild Slashes in his deck, you know? He's drawing to a 1-mana artifact creature or a Wild Slash to stabilize this. I just don't know if you're going to get a better spot than this. Leaving him at 2 mana, you know, that Mutavault could be worth much, much more than 1 more attacker getting through.
He's going to finish that off. I think that's right. Head back over to Walker. He'll draw. I think he drew Wild Slash.
Well, that is the perfect draw here.
Ooh, boy.
You get it all.
Not the first time we've seen Noah Walker get it all this weekend.
Yep.
Now, what do you want to block? I'm compelled to kill the Elvish Mystic.
Yep. I mean...
And going to 1.
Right. I like that line also, as it cuts off a lot of Fronsee's long-term draws. You do die to a Ballista, but I think a Ballista is going to be very hard for you to beat this game anyway.
Yep. So I don't even want to... my opponent's already used 2 Ballistas. Doesn't mean they can't find the other one.
Right.
But one of the other 2, pardon me. But, I think, just... Ballista's going to be an issue either way. I think I agree with you. And he's going to kill Burning Tree Emissary, block a Burning Tree Emissary.
Okay. So you're going to leave the elf around.
What this also, as he falls down to 2, there's another elf past the turn back. I was going to say, if Adam has no follow-up play, as there's a Ghost Fireblade. If Adam had no follow-up play, Noah could start attacking.
Right. And our line would have gotten us killed, and Noah lived another turn.
Mm-hmm. Voracious Hydra is a big. Adam right back in it now. Noah's got to find something to do. He needed to find a land. He did. And Soul Artifact there. Past the turn back. Fronsee's got to find something to do. We're going back and forth here, folks.
Yep. Great play by Noah on that Burning Tree Emissary. Like I said, we would have gotten killed on our line.
Aha! This should be it. Wait for it. That should not. Okay, so Vivian can minus. Voracious Hydra can fight the Ensoul Artifact. The smaller one. Yep. Kill that, but he can't attack 4 lethal. His 6/7 into a 7/7.
Just wait a turn. Just wait a turn.
Just wait it out. You're okay. Because we can't forget, too, the Vivian's plussing gives trample to things as well, in addition to the counters. Good handful of draws there for Adam.
Great back and forth game. I mean, one good peel deserves another. We only got to this spot because Walker got one of his 2 wild slashes there on that last turn.
Totally agree there.
Yeah, Walker looking like, is there even a mistake I can try to get Fronsee to make from here?
Mm-hmm. Looks like Gingerbread's going to get involved. Oh, yeah. Ooh.
Love it.
Interesting.
I mean, this is dead on board if Fronsee just taps all of his creatures.
All right. He sees it.
Well, that's. Okay. I mean, that Walker was like, that's the mistake to make.
Yeah, I mean, make him make the mistake.
Right.
Or make him make the correct play.
There you go.
Especially in this stage of the tournament. So, we're all tied up 1-1. Adam able to come back there on a game where he was on the play and tie things up. So now we go to the sideboards. We'll start with Noah Walker, who will be on the play this game. 3 Antiquities War, 3 Roast, 3 Stubborn Denial, 2 Blazing Volley, 2 Hangerback Walker, a Disdainful Stroke, and a Mystical Dispute.
I like the 3 copies of Roast quite a bit, and the 1 copy of Disdainful Stroke. I don't think this is... I'm interested to see if the Antiquities War comes in here, because it's not the slowest, grindiest matchup, and the Antiquities War is a little bit on the expensive side. That said, it's not like Fronsee does a very good job of killing artifacts. The battlefield could get cluttered. I would bet against, but it's at least worth considering.
Other side of thing here for Adam Fronsee. He's got 3 Nihilius Disciple, 3 Shapers, Sanctuary, 2 Life Crafters, Bestiary, 2 Unravel the Ether, in Ulamog, a Whisperwood Elemental and a Questing Beast.
The Unravel the Aethers here are the real prize. That actually gives him some interaction against Walker's best dimensions of attack.
Yeah, I think that one's pretty straightforward. Adam doesn't have to change all that much. And Blazing Volley is an interesting little card that Noah does have access to. 1 mana deals 1 damage to each creature your opponents control. Any interest there? Mini Pyroclasm, sort of?
Probably.
Kills a couple elves, might catch a Hangerback Walker maybe. Or not a Hangerback Walker, a Walking Ballista, pardon me.
Yeah, probably good enough.
J-Light Ranger in certain situations. So, we'll see if that does come in. A little too. I forgot that card existed until right now. So, there you do see the options there for both of our players here in our top 8.
I had it. I was thinking, is that Shard Volley? Probably not.
Yeah,
is that Rending Volley? No, it's not Rending Volley.
You know Shard Volley.
And Rending Volley.
You know that one less, I think.
It's true.
Yeah.
I play Fry now.
Oh, it's nice to get an upgrade every now and again. Is it an upgrade?
Depends what you're trying to beat. Yeah. I started off with Rending Volley. It's much better against the Azorius Flash decks. but much better against Archangel Avacyn and Spellcaller and all that. But I've run into enough Lyras and Jace Architect of Thoughts that I wanted to play with Fry instead.
Well, my friends, let's talk about SCG Game Night, the very popular promotion where every week in November you can be outfoxed.
So, first order of business. If you don't know where your game night is, head over to go.starcitygames.com/game night, find out where it is. We send these kids to stores who are signed up. They run game night whatever day of the week, whatever format they want, whatever is best for their player base, and you can compete for these tokens and sleeves. And if you're interested in getting some more outfoxed merchandise, you can head over to go.starcitygames.com/creature collection. And that's where we have sleeves, playmats, and player bundles.
Very nice.
You want to find your game night? Go to StarCityGames.com/game night. Stores. You want to get signed up for this program? Contact your Star City Games in-store play representative.
Game number 3 about to be on the way here, folks. Do want to let you know that Daniel Salvatore has won game number 1 over Stephen Dykman. Those games might take a little while. That's Mono Green Devotion in the hands of Salvatore versus Golgari Delirium.
Golgari kill spells.
Yes. My favorite Golgari kill spells. We shall see how it goes. Good back and forth between these two so far. This game should be good.
I think one of the more interesting things about the game so far is the priorities that Fronsee is putting on his opening hands.
It's important.
Mulliganed, I think, a hand most players would look at and say, I mean, it looks fine, sure, whatever. Threw that one back. A hand that to some players probably would look sketchier than the hand that got mulliganed, got kept. And so you can see that Fronsee is putting a premium on his early battlefield presence. Consistent openings, try to get the ground locked up, put pressure on Walker to have one of only a handful of ways to break through that.
Both these players take a look at the opening. You see Once Upon a Time. Llanowar Elves. Looks like a couple of good cards here for Fronsee, so he's going to keep. We're going to get a little Brutey, huh?
I'm excited to start playing with this card.
This card is so you. It's kind of silly, honestly.
A lot of options, none of them good.
Yep. Here is Once Upon a Time for Adam. Looks like he's going to take a Forest. Now there is the Llanowar Elves. We're heading back over to Noah Walker.
Looks like he's got one of those blazing volleys.
Bang. 1. Does he not have a second land? No, he does. This is Team Events. He's good. That's the turn back. Important to constrict their mana. You don't want to get too greedy with Blazing Volley. Oh. Here's Walking Ballista.
Brute don't care.
Well, let's keep attacking.
No, that just keeps attacking.
Let's go. You want some?
You want a piece? With your rare.
Smuggler's Copter.
Interesting to respond. Okay. Well, I guess if you're going to do it anyway, you might as well do it now.
Sure. There's Nykthos. Not a very good Nykthos right now. Could get better, though. There's a Elvish Mystic past the turn back. Walker, I think, has got some scissors in his hand. He's going to go with Skilled Animator.
Yeah, I think the first order of business is to suss out any sort of naturalize here in Fronsee's hand at the lowest opportunity cost that you can. And Skilled Animus is the way to lead that off.
That is an Unravel the Aether. That's going to put it back into the deck. You see Skilled Animator, 3 mana, 1/3. There's a battlefield. Target artifact creature you control becomes an artifact creature with base power and toughness 5/5 for as long as Skilled Animator remains on the battlefield. There is Questing Beast. This is a card that can pressure the opponent quite well. Skilled Animator is not going to get the opportunity to block it ever, too.
And
there's a Slash.
Noah's hand is not good. I mean, the Insult artifact needs a flyer to be able to do anything about Questing Beast. and was a Metallic Rebuke.
Mm-hmm.
Bit of a dead end.
Rebuke could be okay, I mean, just to counter something, but looks like Fronsee has nothing to do. And Mutavault is, not going to get to attack favorably right now.
Or block.
That too. Questing Beast, a one of in Adam's sideboard, and it is doing a nice job in this game. A card with that much text, you'd expect for it to be pretty good, I think.
Well, I think there's some acknowledgement, post-board, Walker gets better at attacking the mana creatures, and you want something high impact that you can play even if your elves are being killed. Questing Beast fits the bill.
Beatdowns.
And it's not anything for Walker to block.
No.
I mean, he's been managing these damage ranges by a lot of chump blocking or just a lot of blocking with small things. And that's off the table against Questing Beast.
Jade Light Ranger. I think Noah at this point kind of has to counter anything. Yeah.
Yeah, not getting any better.
Also, I don't want to give Adam 2 looks at it. Yeah, an island, eh?
The shape of this matchup changes a lot when Fronsee gets a couple naturalizes.
Mm-hmm.
He actually has some hope of interacting.
Yes, he does.
And that draw from Walker, I think, would have been unstoppable in the pre-board games. And here, Fronsee with one of his Unravel the Aethers, and Walker's hand has went to complete trash in the aftermath of it.
I think... Here's Nylea's Disciple. That's going to resolve, so Fronsee's going to gain some life. I think Noah Walker's best draw is a Darksteel Citadel. Didn't find one. He's going to concede this game. So, Questing Beast, one of from the sideboard that you can find with Vivian, was drawn instead as it was sideboarded in and kills Noah Walker.
Nylea's Disciple as well.
Yeah.
Typically a tutor target for Vivian. I guess it comes in some of the matchups as well.
Yeah.
But
well, you do have multiples of that card.
Right.
There are 3 in the
You can leave
sideboard.
one in the back and if you wanted to, but...
Now it's Adam Fronsee who is taking the lead here in a matchup that we all picked. You, me, Craig, Brian, and Miller Time.
Which means Walker is going to have to break serve a second time.
That's right.
To be able to get this one. If we even get to game 5.
Well, we'll have to see how things go here in just a moment. Looks like Noah is going to go to the drawing board here. So while he's working on that, we are going to let you know about the StarCityGames.com YouTube page where you can watch a whole bunch of stuff.
There is a ton of content up there spanning multiple years. Versus Live, Commander Versus, Flashback, Best of SCG Tour. So much up there. You can subscribe today for free, of course, over at youtube.com/StarCityGames. Get notified when new content gets uploaded to the page. Become one of approximately 175,000 subscribers. That's a large number. Join the Cool Kids group over at youtube.com/StarCityGames.
Let's know about our backup match here. Once again, another update. Make sure you're following at SCG Tour on Twitter. You'll know that Stephen Dykman just tied things up against Dan Salvatore. Golgari, Delirium, and Mono Green Devotion getting ready for their sideboarded games, working into game number 3. We will be heading that way after this one, assuming it's still going.
Might be a safe bet.
Figured these would be the faster
The
of the two.
Golgari cards.
Cards I own?
Cards I
What'd you
own. Cards I like to draw.
Mm-hmm.
1 Grim Flayer. 1 Ishkana.
Some oldies but goodies.
2 Tireless Tracker. 2 Tireless Tracker.
2 of most cards.
Yeah. 2 Duress. Love it. Shout out to Chad Castell,
Our boy.
the inventor of Golgari 2 card.
I like calling a Golgari 2 card. That's good. That's nice. No one loves a 2 of more than Chad.
Loves
That's
it.
for sure.
Loves it.
Little of this, little of that.
My last sideboard slot One of my favorite moments of ever playing Magic, back in the hotel room with Chad. My last sideboard slot. Ask this to me in earnest. Should it be a Read the Bones or a Painful Truths?
That's right.
Don't ask me another question.
No. Remember what
You're cut off.
You remember what I was trying to get him to play?
Hold on. I don't have it.
Gray Shell Scarab.
Oh, yeah.
It's good against nothing, but
it's hard to kill.
But it's really tough to kill.
It's really hard to kill that thing.
Dredge 1.
Yeah. How do you stop it?
Yeah. It's an unkillable beetle. Noah with a pretty quick keep. Must be happier with this one.
Still looks like, I mean, at least 4 lands in that hand.
It's a lot of lands. Hope of Gear Power.
Yeah, looks like Hope plus Copter. Even with a lot of lands, that's a fine hand. Again, a hand that's so much better in game 1 than it is in these post-board games. Fronsee swings the matchup quite a bit by having some copies of Unravel the Aether.
There he is.
Unkillable. How do you stop this?
How do you stop this thing? It's a card drawing engine, among other things. It's
right.
Basically the best card that's ever been made.
Your deck definitely has other ways to mill itself over, for sure. 2 Tireless Strikers.
Yep. Those numbers are tested.
Yeah. All the cards off as 2-ofs, and then you just cut them as you draw them down to 1.
Walker's got a Mutavault, so one of those lands actually does a little something. Also has a copy of Roast in hand. So right now Walker's considering a roast, and he will roast away. In for 1. Pass it over to Fronsee.
Again, putting a premium on stifling mana development.
Ballista. Back to Walker. In very quickly. Adam will fall down to 18 now. There's an island. That's a Copter. Pass the turn back. We'll get these life totals updated for you at home in just a moment. Slight technical difficulty there. And now we're good to go. Back over to Adam now.
Now we wait.
Now we wait indeed. Adam has a bit of a judge question.
Looked like asking for the Oracle text of something.
Adam was looking for the Oracle text on Metallic Rebuke, that improvised counterspell that you see there. Looks like Bliss is going to get some beatdowns, huh? And now take care of, pardon me. The follow-up is killing the Hope of Gear Power. Another Ballista. It's a good roast there from Walker.
Yep.
Killing that Llanowar Elves. He thought a long time before doing that.
No land drop. No green mana symbols on the battlefield for Fronsee. Mana's really stifled. And the thing is, if he leaves up the mana and threatens Unravel the Aether, it's easy for Walker to say, all right, I'll just go ahead and fire up Mutavault. You don't have to play into it.
Stone Serpent. Smuggler's Copter gets crewed. Beatdowns ensue. Here comes Ballista. And Fronsee with those mana issues still. Back to Noah Walker. Another copy of Hope Gear Pal. Let's crew it up. There's Unravel. And this is not a big deal for Noah. And so he'll be able to get in here for 3 points of damage. Fronsee is going to fall down 12 because he's got to follow Copter. And that's why he doesn't see that as the end of the world.
I'm a little surprised for Fronsee to wait there. There's almost no chance that Walker plays an Ensoul into 2 open mana with Fronsee stalled on lands, but there is some chance that a Metallic Rebuke takes care of your Unravel the Aether by waiting.
Fronsee has actually drawn another Ballista and another copy of Unravel, so. Though he is stuck on mana.
One spell a turn's just not doing it from here.
Yeah.
Walker has so many dimensions of attack right now. Ballista doesn't do anything, but the Unravel, your hands kind of face up, and it's not hard for Walker to play around it.
Yeah, you mentioned attacks with Mutavault and things of that nature. That Unravel the Ether is just a little bit taxed right now.
Yeah. I mean, if you have one in hand, I think your highest ceiling play for slowing down all of this is Ballista down the Hope, and then a Unravel the Aether on the Stone Coil. Noah might end up attacking you with only one thing next turn.
Mm-hmm. All right. New Ballista. Old Ballista will take care of the Hope of Gear Power. We're going to head back over to Walker now. Walker will draw. Is it time for some skilled animating? It is. Stone Coil is a 8/8 now. Crew there. That's a pretty good turn. Draw and discard. Goodbye, Steam Vents. Fronsee is down to 1, if my math is correct. Took 11 on that hit. 11's a lot. Yeah, we're done. No, Walker going to tie it up 2-2.
That's that's the hope with that roast, you know. Walker has not tried to get everything with his removal spells. Was happy to Blazing Volley away 1 accelerator in game number 3. Used to roast on the second turn there to take care of Elvish Mystic. Got paid off that game. Fronsee never able to get off the ground. And we are going to game 5.
Going to game 5 indeed between these two players. Noah Walker, Adam Fronsee. They are on the left side of our bracket right now, folks. Doing battle. Our backup match again if we have time to jump to it, and it looks like we're going to. Dan Salvatore, Stephen Dykman, tied up at 1-1 right now. Salvatore on Mono Green Devotion, just like Fronsee is here. Stephen Dykman on Golgari Delirium. You can find those deck lists, of course, on our coverage page. If you want to see exactly what Noah Walker and Adam Fronsee are playing right now, check out that Cardboard Live extension. Those folks are great, making our tournaments even more fun to watch. 2-2, remember, as well. Craig Krempels, Brian Gottlieb, they'll be coming in next round, take care of our other half of the quarterfinals. We're going to be watching a little action here between Chris Barone and Dylan Huckabone. Chris Barone playing Mono Black Aggro, Huckabone playing Bant Ramp, and then you got Kevin Hong, who's had a nice little tournament for himself against Sam Birkenbile. Hong playing Hardened Scales, and Birkenbile rocking and rolling with Gruul Aggro here this weekend.
I think that one's going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah, I think so too. That should be a pretty good match, I think. Rob, for now, we want to give you guys some free stuff. And what's more free than a free newsletter?
It's the freest. Over at go.starcitygames.com/newsletter, your source for Magic the Gathering news, cultivated by Star City own Cedric Phillips.
Hi.
It includes, among other things, highlights from some of Star City Games' best articles, upcoming SCG Tour dates and locations. Are you looking for an IQ or a game night? Find it in there as well. And as we mentioned multiple times, signing up is free over at go.starcitygames.com/newsletter.
Your pairings for round 1 are being posted at
You could read articles from the incredibly handsome Brian Gottlieb.
The disarmingly handsome Brian Gottlieb.
That's right. Loves a mono green deck right now across multiple formats. Of course, the host of the Arena Decklist podcast alongside Jerry Thompson. Pioneer Decklist podcast too, apparently. Little update for ya. Thanks, intern Rob. Daniel Salvatore wins game 3 over Steven Dykman. Mono Green Devotion starting to flex its muscles here in this top 8. Good sportsmanship between these two players. Adam Fronsee, Noah Walker, getting ready for game 5. Winner's going to move on to the semifinals to play the winner of that match between Salvatore and Dykman.
This one's been good so far.
Yeah?
Both players throwing some good punches. Sideboard cards really important. Unravel the Aether has been huge for Fronsee. More removal for the mana creatures was huge for Walker in game number 4.
Fronsee with a quick keep. Noah Walker 2. There it is. Line of War Elves. There it is. Wild Slash. Walker's only got a couple of those, but he found one of them. Walker down to 19 via the Shivan Reef. Let's see where Adam goes. There's Smuggler's Copter after a Burning Tree Shaman and a Walking Ballista.
So Fronsee looks a little jammed up here. He does have a Voracious Hydra. Might just want to cast that to get the devotion count up.
Get some more pips, as it were. There's the Hydra. 2/3 is not the most impressive thing in the world, but that'll make Nykthos be plus mana now, at least at the moment, as we head back over to Noah Walker. Serpent. No crew, just pass a turn back. There's a forest off the top. All right, Adam's going to sit up in his chair a little bit now.
You know, I mean, if you're Walker, that Fronsee's hand's pretty face up there on turn number 3 with the Hydra and a Nykthos. Some bigs coming this turn. Force doesn't hurt, and Walker playing some defense, bracing himself for potentially a really big attack this turn. Walker has not taken a defensive posture this early in the game so far in the match, but Fronsee was signaling that a big turn was coming here on turn number 4, and Walker steeling himself for what could be a huge attack.
Fronsee thinking about a lot on this turn. His Nykthos will generate 4 mana right now. So he's got access to 5 mana on this turn as things currently stand. Walking Ballista, of course, he could pump. What kind of attacks does he think he should make? And does he have anything for sure that he wants to deploy in his hand pre-combat? It looks like the answer is yes. Appears as though it's another copy of Voracious Hydra. He also has a Vivian in hand, pardon me. Adam very unsure of himself on what he should deploy this turn.
I'm very interested in the Hydra.
Hydra for 3, fight the Serpent? Yeah, me too.
Yes. I mean, it's my preference here is just to go wide and tall while Walker has to leave essentially 1 blocker back. It's very hard for him to gain traction in the game. It's very hard for him to threaten to attack you while you're doing that.
So the argument behind Vivian is it's it in combination with Walking Ballista, which is nice.
Yeah, but it doesn't, I mean, that is nice, but the reason that I liked the Hydra better was I think it's about the same thing, except you get to, you know, just pin Walker's kind of resources, the mana. I mean, all that matters from Walker's perspective. He's got Shroudal Blast. He's got Metallic Rebuke in the deck. it might seem innocuous to let him have one more artifact going in this turn, but a lot of things are predicated on him having artifacts available. And if the play is close, I'd rather err on the side of just getting rid of the thing.
Yeah, I guess I like this Vivien play more from Adam because it gives you more pips for Nykthos in the following turn, which means you can play a Hydra for a larger amount the next turn. But also, this forces Noah's hand to do something.
Yep, and you can't do it through the copter because if Walker wants to spend his turn that way, you could just ballista it down if it can't do it.
You could, or you could just say, sure, my Vivien's a 2.
Right.
You know, so it forces Walker's hand where Noah's already taking a defensive stance on this game. Now it's forcing Noah to take an aggressive stance in this game that he probably doesn't want to take, which means he'll probably have to tap a lot of mana on his own turn, which means that you probably have a window open for a very large Hydra to mess things up. And the likelihood of him killing Vivien this turn strikes me as very low.
I guess the tiebreaker for me is if you play the Voracious Hydra, there's almost no chance that Walker can hold up a Metallic Rebuke next turn, and you have a Nykthos to make so much mana that's off the table. Letting him have the additional artifact and leaving a card in your hand that you theoretically want to be tapping out for, spending as much mana as possible, makes it more likely that a Rebuke could come into play.
Yeah, I guess my side of this would be that his Voracious Hydra is only getting rebuked if he screws up.
Sure.
I just don't see it happening because he has so much mana and he doesn't have to go like 100-100. He can just do it like 97-97 and just do it that way. Whirler Rogue. Looks like we're going to crew the copter with the Whirler Rogue, and Stone Coil Serpent and Smuggler's Copter are going after Vivien. See what kind of blocks are going to happen here because Noah has some discarding to do first.
Very interesting. I was not expecting Walker to put something together this turn that would actually threaten the Vivien. This forces some sort of action from Fronsee. You don't want to lose the Vivien here. My intuition here is just to use the Ballista. You have such a devastating mana sink for next turn that you don't need the Ballista to hedge, and the Vivien, you know, gets better and better as the game proceeds. I guess both unblockable.
Yeah, but you can still
Ballista down one.
So I want to Ballista the copter.
Yeah,
because that's the better of the two threats. And now next turn, I get to load up with my my Hydra.
Take care of the Stone Coil.
Yep.
And now you're way ahead.
And now you're super far ahead. Yeah.
Right.
And you still have your Vivien.
Yep.
Yeah, and this seems straightforward enough to me. Like, I know that Adam's probably thinking Ballista is so good in this matchup and so good, blah, blah, blah. Just trade it.
Right.
Make the exchange.
You have something extremely good to do with your mana next turn.
Yeah. And heck, you could draw something better to do with your mana next turn. Keep all those pips.
Or the turn after.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's 2 draw steps worth of, you know, being able to spike something huge.
Now, there is a conversation to be had on if you're supposed to kill the Serpent or you're supposed to kill the Whirler Rogue. Whirler Rogue could weirdly make this game complicated or interesting because it has so much text. You've got the 1/1 Thopters in the battlefield. You can make something unblockable, so on and so forth. But you're playing this for sure.
Right.
It's just, what are you killing? And there's your answer.
Yeah, I think the Stone Coil is the most threatening thing for Soul Artifact. And if Adam loses this game, it probably involves getting punked out by that. So I like hedging a little bit.
Well, Adam's going to get busy now with Vivien. And now this game is Noah's being attacked from 2 different angles. Vivien's putting a lot of pressure on this game. These large green creatures are causing a huge issue. And I'm not quite sure how Noah's is able to take care of both of those things and then Adam's life total.
Right, it's not like Noah's deck rather is very good at handling large threats.
Noah's very good at playing ahead.
Not good at playing behind.
Yeah, if he's going to play from behind, it involves barely killing you and then shrapnel blasting you, right? Like stealing the game from out underneath you. Adam's at 20.
Right. That's what we talked about. You know, we mentioned it. There are going to be games where Adam's on the play that he wins at 20. For as good as the matchup is, there's sometimes where Noah is just going to get shut out. And this is a game where Noah even had a Wild Slash to open up action against Atlanta War Elves. You know, that's what you're hoping for here. But it's been really hard for him to get any sort of traction with Fronsee having that explosive 4th turn backed up by so much mana.
Man, Adam snap kept his hand. He felt confident about it. He lost his elf, and he still played on. There's a reason a lot of players were looking for Vivian coming into this weekend, as there's a Stone Coil Serpent. Pass the turn back. It's a very, very good card. Adam is going right to that Planeswalker again. Pump up the jam. Now, do remember that those Hydras. Well, I got nothing left to say. That Reclamation Sage speaks for itself. Those Hydras have trample, and that is going to do it. Adam Fronsee, he loves big green mana decks, and he has won with another one here this weekend.